So I think a lot of this honestly applies to entrepreneurs in general, not just insurance agents. And some of the things that I would do differently is, first of all, the transition from 9 to 5 to entrepreneur is one that you can't really predict. It's one of those things that you kind of have to go through, and I can tell you what it's going to be like, but I will never be able to fully encompass everything because there's so many intangibles that come up that I'll honestly overlook when I'm trying to convey what that transition looks like for you. But one of the biggest things that you need to do in the beginning is give yourself some grace and provide that same structure, because that structure that you're accustomed to as a 9 to 5, a lot of times when you make that transition, that freedom, for lack of a better way to put it, goes to your head and you become comfortable and complacent and are not as productive. So it's one of two things. Either you're hyper productive because you're extremely focused and driven, or you become not as productive because that structure that you were accustomed to throughout your whole life isn't really there anymore. Because when you really think about it, those are the things that have been there since preschool. You go to school at a certain time, lunch is at this time, you get done at this time, dinner's at this time, you go to bed at this time, and that's there throughout life. It diminishes a little bit in college, but you still have your schedule where you're required to manage that freedom and flexibility to really prepare you for adulthood. But when you go to entrepreneurship or becoming an agent, that's on a whole nother level. So I say all that to say, give yourself a structure. Block scheduling is a great way to give yourself that structure so that you can provide yourself with that consistency that's going to propel you to success as an entrepreneur. The other thing is have a dedicated workspace. I think one of the things that I actually found interesting is I don't know where I saw it, but a psychologist actually said that threshold that is your doorway. Have you ever walked into another room and just kind of looked around and said, why did I come in here? Because mentally, when you walk through that doorway, that threshold takes you to another portal. So you flip a switch subconsciously that causes you to go somewhere else. And that same thing applies to you as an entrepreneur. So either have a dedicated workspace in your house, somewhere near your home, or an office ideally, because things changed for me dramatically when I got my first office. And then again, when I got my first assistant to offload some of the things that I didn't necessarily like doing, that didn't necessarily excite me, and also what I found were costing me money and opportunities. The other thing that you need to be conscious of is once you create that consistency that's going to ultimately drive you to success, is when you start to reach those different plateaus of success, that you don't abandon the things that got you there. Now, granted, that cliche, that's not really a cliche, is true. What got you there won't necessarily take you to the next level, but what got you there will serve as a foundation to allow you to continue that growth and propel your growth trajectory to allow you to ascend from wherever that plateau is to the next level. So don't abandon those things and stay plugged in. Those people that got you to that point, they also have mentors that got them to that point that poured into them. So if it's not that person walking you through to the next step because they're likely a couple steps ahead of you, then figure out who their mentors are. Figure out the people that they leaned on that were able to communicate to them, because obviously you've latched on to that person because you like their communication style, and their communication style was molded by that person. So you'll likely be able to glean and take things from those people as well. The other thing that I think you also want to do is never really get comfortable and stay plugged in. Stay plugged into the system, stay plugged into the things that are changing, and don't get so comfortable that you think that, again, that this is going to always work, because every industry, especially where we are now, things are going to start to evolve more quickly, and you need to be abreast of those evolutions so that you don't get left behind, so that your business doesn't become stagnant, so that you can plug in, take advantage, and apply those things to whatever foundation you've established to continue your growth. So those are just a few things that I think, regardless of if it's insurance or any other entrepreneur endeavor or just life in general, that you can apply that will allow you to accomplish really any and everything that you want to accomplish, that you want to avoid, implement, and just make sure that you're mindful of as you continue on this journey. if there's anything that you want to talk about or dig a little deeper into, feel free to reach out, DM, comment below, and we'll unpack whatever it is that you need to unpack.